20 minutes before 7 o'clock, let me take you to Cape Town, where Leanne is, and she's joined by the Minister of Finance, Pravin Gordhan. Leanne, it's over to you.
All right, welcome back, everybody. You're watching Morning Live as we come to you live from Kelvin Grove here in the Western Cape. A beautiful morning from Newlands, and we this morning have the honor of hosting the Finance Minister here on the program live after he delivered what many are calling a very difficult budget, but a good one under the circumstances. So I think that being a compliment from most parties about yesterday's budget delivery. Always difficult at these times. We used to remember those days when we were just, I think the budget was a lot more boring those days, but these days, sorry, I've got we do have our former finance minister sitting here. Trevor Manuel, you do have to admit they were a lot more boring in those days. But I'm not sure about the hair loss from both of our finance ministers. So obviously they're both stressful. It is so nice to have you with us. Pravin Gordhan, our finance minister here in South Africa. Let's give him a round of applause, will we? Thank you. How are you feeling this morning?
Oh, a bit tired, but looking forward to this conversation together with our Deputy Minister, Jonah. So give him a hand as well. And in case we slip up, we even have the former minister here. So
yeah.
He's playing wicketkeeper for today.
Well, he's watching on with a much bigger smile than both of you. I can promise you. I think very happy to be out of that portfolio for this moment. It is probably at this point one of the most difficult.
He will certainly be.
It is
very happy.
I'm sure it must be one of the most difficult portfolios to be in right now. You know, the pressure that's on you. How do you feel on a normal day? How does it feel?
No, we have a piece of work to do for South Africa. That's why we have this job and have been asked to do it. So we get up each morning and ask the question, what is it that we could do? What is it that we could do differently? Sometimes you feel a bit tired of all the nonsense that's going on. And most times, having been activists for a long time and committed to creating a vibrant democracy in South Africa, are very clear about our mission and what we have to do, both as a treasury but also as a South African and a Democrat. And we get on with the job.
Yeah.
And we have a phenomenal team at the treasury that you should applaud as well, ladies and gentlemen.
Transformation. That word was echoed, I think, 50 times during your budget. You've got people counting the amount of times you used that word. Would you say that was the main thread throughout your entire budget?
Well, I suppose 45% is also transformative for some people. You got it? No?
Very transformative.
So we had a mixture of the state fiscal numbers, just to assure the country that government has a good handle on our fiscus. So the deficit is under control, borrowing is tapering off, revenue could be better, but we've lost 30 billion rand since February last year. And on the expenditure side, we've had to make some tough decisions as government to live below the expenditure ceiling, as we call it. So that's that side. But on the revenue side, we've had to raise 28 billion rand, so we could share with South Africans how we've raised it. There's a lot of commentary about the 45%. Some of it misdirected, regrettably. It'll affect the black middle class, but yet there are some calling for corporate tax increases that will also affect the black middle class. So I think we must forget about black and white. If you're middle class and you live in a democracy where we have a progressive tax system, you pay your fair share of tax as South Africans, so that we can develop the fiscal capacity to do the things that we have to do. Where transformation certainly comes in is to continue to ensure that our tax system is redistributive, and that's a role that the tax system has played since our democracy and since Minister Manuel's time. And increasingly around the world, there's a demand that the tax system actually plays more of a progressive role, that those who are better off must in fact play a more active role in supporting those that are not better off in our society. That's what redistribution is about in systems throughout the world. But the second area where transformation is important, all the numbers both globally and in South Africa show that poor people and the lower middle class are terribly badly off in South Africa. And there's a similar phenomenon to what you see in the developed world here, where the so-called missing middle is stuck, both in terms of asset accumulation and in terms of income as well. Yeah. And there are recent studies undertaken through an inclusive growth project which reinforce that picture as well. So we've got to transform their lives. We've got to make sure that both that category of people and those who have no jobs, no connection with the economy, no role in an active sense, do become engaged in the economy and make a positive contribution. That's how our tax base is going to grow over a period of time. So transformation is a crucial area. Let me just add one more, and that is that no economy or business continues with the same model forever. Business models change as times change. Similarly, our business model as South Africa Incorporated needs to change. There's technology that's coming our way, artificial intelligence that's coming our way. The world markets are changing, and they'll change even more as more tweets come out from certain quarters of the world. And we better be a lot more agile and alive to those changing circumstances so that we can ensure we have what it takes to innovate, to create products and services that we can send around the world. Yeah. So transformation in that sense is quite critical as well. And above all, we still have huge numbers of people marginalized in our economy. Yeah. That is not sustainable. So we must just agree as South Africans to have a tough conversation over a short period of time to say inequality unacceptable, a stuck middle class unacceptable, and the level of distance between the majority and what we call the modern economy is also unacceptable. Let's all participate in the process of shaping this transformation process and contributing to a new form of solidarity and change, because that's what we are talking about at the end of the day.
You know, I want to almost play a little bit of devil's advocate, because...
You normally do, eh?
Usually. I mean, I suppose that's... Yeah, the term devil just gets to me, though. But the reality is that obviously you were caught in a bad situation where you had to play somewhat of a Robin Hood. So you've got the 45% tax on anybody earning 1.5 million annually. But what that group of people are saying, and others as well, is, what am I getting for all of my taxes? And all that money that's being spent is that the government services are not working for me. And then I think, you know, we talk about being one of the highest taxed countries in the world when it comes to personal taxes, and yet we're not getting enough for the buck.
I don't think we're the highest tax. We'll do the homework on that. There are many countries in the world where you pay 50, 60%. But
you get more for your buck.
But they're well-established democracies for over 100 years. We're a democracy that's in place for just over 20 years, firstly. So what you get for your tax contribution is peace in South Africa. You have social stability in South Africa. You don't have the restlessness that you see in other parts of the world yet. And we better do something faster in order to engage all sections of the population and let them see the benefits. Otherwise, you're going to see the same things that the US has seen, the Brexit result that you've seen in the United Kingdom, and possibly some of the results that you're going to get in elections in Europe as well. So what you get is, let's call it the soft, the intangible side. Roads that work, airports that work, and a country that works by and large, and institutions that work as well. Secondly, in terms of services, we can certainly do better. There's no doubt about that. So our vision is right, but we need to do a lot better at executing that vision and turning our education system, which attracts over 100 billion, 120 billion rands, and one in which all of you feel comfortable sending your children to those educational facilities or health facilities. I think the passion is there on the government side, but we need a greater sense of urgency to ensure that people who work within those systems create the kind of environment that will satisfy taxpayers out there. So I think that's a familiar middle class argument, which we perfectly understand, but we need to take a wider perspective than just, what do I get in terms of security or the role of the police or whatever the case might be. At the same time, I think South Africans must keep us on our toes. If I'm responsible for a particular area in government, which is delivering a key service, and we're not able to actually do so at the moment as effectively or in line with expectations of the public, hold us to account.
Yeah.
And make sure, not just us as politicians, but also the bureaucrats who are responsible for delivery, do the job that they're supposed to do and deliver the quality that they're supposed to. That's the essence of democracy, and if you like, the democratic tension that we need to develop.
All right. Let's take a very quick break here on the program. When we return, we'll continue conversations here with the Minister of Finance. Also, remember, send in your questions from home at Morning Live SABC. We'll have a look for them there.